Embers.
Welcome, everybody. I now call to order our regular scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting. It is always so exciting when we get a room full of happy, energetic, excited kids right here. And so you're getting ready to see some exciting things. And they've been working hard and practicing hard and can't wait to introduce them here shortly later this evening. Our first items of business, though, are going to be our invocation, which is going to be led by Tracy Stevenson. And following him, we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance led by these wonderful third graders from Lincoln Heights Elementary School here tonight. So if you would all, please stand.
Please pray with me. Dear Lord, we thank you for this night, and we thank you for bringing us to this place to safely so that we can do the business of the town of Fuquay-Varina. We just thank you for all these young kids that are here tonight, Lord. We just pray that you bless them, that they can learn from the adults in the room, and that we just show them what good government's about, and we just teach them that this is the place that we can do the things that our communities require. And we just ask you to cover this proceeding with your blessings and grace tonight, and we just ask that you do this in your name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Let's give those kids a round of applause. We'll be hearing more from them here shortly. First item tonight's our meeting protocol. At this time, I ask Town Manager Mitchell to review the meeting protocol for public participation as it relates to this meeting. Adam, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, board members. It's good to be with you on this Monday night. Tonight's town board meeting is both in person and live streamed on the town's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Tonight's meeting contains a public comment period and 6 scheduled public hearings. The public is invited to comment in person. When it is the appropriate time, Mayor Massengill will call on those wishing to address the town board. All attendees that have appeared in person to address the town board during the public comment period should provide your name and address on the green registration sheet by the podium prior to the public comment period beginning. All attendees that have appeared in person to address the town board during a scheduled public hearing should provide your name and address on the white registration sheet by the podium. We ask all those wishing to address the town board either during the public comment period or a scheduled public hearing to begin their comments by clearly stating their name and address for the public record. The public is asked to keep all comments to 3 minutes so that all that wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. To be respectful of those that may have different views on matters addressed by the town board, we ask all in attendance to respect the decorum of this meeting by refraining from clapping, unless you're clapping for the third graders, making loud noises, and generally showing support or displeasure for comments made during the public comment period or public hearings. Police Chief Smith will be asked to escort from the boardroom anyone not respecting the process, and it is the discretion of the mayor as presiding officer of the meeting to continue the public comment and or public hearing periods if the meeting protocol is not followed. This concludes the protocol for tonight's meeting.
The key thing is unlimited clapping for third graders, please.
That's right.
Before our presentations, our next item of business is approval of the minutes of the March 24th, 2025 Town Board of Commissioners regular scheduled meeting. Any changes or additions to the minutes? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move that we accept the minutes as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're going to move to item 4E on presentations and move that to be our first presentation tonight. I know these kids have been up late all day, wide open from spring break last week, and try to get them home at a decent time tonight to get in bed. So we're going to move that up to our next item on our agenda. And item 4E is a proclamation and presentation for Food Waste Prevention Week. And more information about the agenda item will be presented by myself and Lincoln Heights Elementary School students. We're going to have the students go first and tell us about their presentation tonight, and then I'll follow up with a proclamation and some remarks. So thank you and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Massengill and Town Board members. Thank you for allowing us to speak at the meeting this evening. My name is Laura Wood, and we are from Lincoln Heights Environmental Connections Magnet Elementary. Would you believe that the South Wake landfill is projected to be full by 2040, and there isn't space or a plan to build another landfill here in Wake County? Food waste is the #1 item in the landfill that can be prevented from ending up there. Currently, about 25% of what is put in the landfill is food waste. This is Food Waste Prevention Week, as the mayor said, and our third graders have been learning ways to reduce food waste, and we would like to share some ideas and suggestions with you to help keep that food waste out of the landfill. So we're going to start with our first student. Come on up.
Hello, my name is Rhett, and my presentation is instead of throwing out food, compost it.
Hi, my name is Gabby, and my presentation is, so basically you should probably clean out your pantry so food doesn't get lost and go expired like this jar.
By the way, parents, if you need to move closer for a photo or filming your kids, you're welcome to come on up. Anything you need to do.
Hi, my name is Clara. A tip is, so you don't waste food, to make a shopping list before you go shopping so you don't buy extra food that you don't need.
Hello, my name is Xavier. If you compost, it can release methane into the atmosphere, which makes the earth hotter, which creates climate change. If you put a cover on your compost, you can make sure that the methane will not escape, which is better. And if you see here, I have a little chart on this side and something that shows when ice caps melt, that creates erosion.
Hi, my name is Mabel. One way to prevent food waste is to donate extra food to the homeless shelters.
Hi, my name is Paxton, and a tip for you is don't go to the store hungry because you'll buy extra food you didn't need and it might be wasteful.
Hi, my name is Damien, and my tip is if you eat something with bones, you can use the bones for bone meal to grow plants.
Hello, my name is Madeline, and my presentation for food waste is eat leftovers and not keep buying more food.
Hi, my name is Lily, and did you know you can put orange peels in your water and it acts like bug repellent so flies won't get your plants? Hello, my name is Inian, and a tip to reduce food waste is if you have apples, for example, you can plant the seeds for new trees to grow.
Hi, my name is Hamina. And my tip is if you have eggshells, you can use them for your plants so animals and insects won't destroy your plants.
Hi, my name is Keon. If you have leftover food, for example, banana, you can make it into banana bread and you can use the peel for compost. Hi, my name is Neva, and certain foods might be okay to feed your pet if you have leftovers. Hi, my name is Catherine, and a way to reduce food waste is to donate to animal shelters. Hi, my name is Alex, and did you know that if you have leftover food, like my apple I've been eating, you can feed it to your dogs, but don't forget to take out the seeds. Hi, my name is Juliana, and here's a helpful tip. Don't buy what you don't need because it can be wasteful and hurt the environment. Hello, my name is Kennedy, and
A tip for you is you should get one serving at a time so you don't waste food.
Hi, my name is Evie, and my tip for you to help prevent from food waste is if you have food that's about to go bad, like for example spinach, you can make a smoothie out of it.
Hi, my name is Hadley, and you can eat the skin off of cucumbers instead of peeling it off.
Hi, my name is Audrey, and peels can be put into the compost and then into the garden. Hello, my name is Penny, and if you have some leftover fruits, you can put them in your water for flavor.
All right, we hope that you got some helpful tips from our third graders. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak this evening and for the proclamation that the mayor will do. We hope that this is going to keep some of those food items from ending up in the landfill. Thank you so much.
That was incredible. Let's give those kids a round of applause. Third graders, can y'all come join me up here? Y'all did such an incredible job. This is so impressive. I know every one of y'all. Y'all come on up here with me right here, and there's nothing to be scared about. Y'all turn this way so your mom and daddy can see y'all all too. You come move this way just a little bit. And parents, you can come anywhere you need to see them. But y'all did such a good job right there. There's nothing to be scared about. Y'all been practicing and doing great in school. You know, being in third grade and coming to a board meeting like this, that's what's so impressive. So many adults can't even do that. And look at y'all doing that right here. There are several of us that went to elementary school in Fuquay-Varina here also, and I know of at least 2 of our board members that went to Lincoln Heights, even there too, similarly. I know Brian went to Lincoln Heights. Charlie went to Lincoln Heights. It wasn't quite built yet, was it?
I taught at Lincoln Heights.
Wasn't quite built yet. And I went to Fuquay-Varina Elementary School myself, but y'all have done such an incredible job tonight. You know, I learned so much about food waste and food prevention. There's so many people that are hungry out there. In fact, one of our last board meetings, we had a citizen in our town come concerned about where people could get food at. And here you are at our very next board meeting doing a presentation talking about how people can not waste food and have something available out there. And so I just want y'all to know, myself as mayor and this entire board is so proud of y'all coming here tonight. And so I want to read y'all this proclamation that we have. And did you know that when you did our Pledge of Allegiance and you came to our board meeting tonight, that goes down in our official minutes. And what the official minutes are, they're a real thick book, like real thick. And it shows all the things that happened at our meetings in Fuquay-Varina. So one day when you get, say you're 50 years old and you come back, you could come here and you could find in our minutes where you were in third grade and did your presentations right there. So it's always in our permanent record, kind of like your grades in school are in your permanent record. That's our permanent record here today, right there. So I'll give you an A+, by the way, for today. So Ms. Wood, you go ahead and make sure you mark that down in their grade books now, A+. So here, let's read this proclamation, kids. Whereas it is estimated that 1/3 of all food produced globally is lost or wasted, and whereas reducing food waste can help to conserve natural resources, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and alleviate hunger and poverty, and whereas food waste is a significant issue that affects not only our environment, but also our economy and public health. And whereas by working together, we can reduce the amount of food waste generated in our community and make a positive impact on our planet. Whereas it is imperative for K through 12 schools and the government to play a pivotal role in educating communities on food waste reduction, recovery, and recycling. And whereas it is crucial to prevent food waste from entering landfills where it decomposes and generates harmful methane gas, contributing to climate change. And whereas the town of Fuquay-Varina is committed to promoting sustainability and environmental stewardship in our community. Now therefore, I, Blake Massengill, Mayor of the town of Fuquay-Varina, do hereby proclaim the week of April 7th through 13th, 2025 as Food Waste Prevention Week in Fuquay-Varina. And I urge all residents to commit to reducing food waste in their households, workplaces, and our community. Thank y'all so much for coming tonight. Y'all have been such great behavior. Let's give y'all another round. Now, the only thing you have left to do tonight is go to bed easy for your parents now, since it's a late night coming here, right? Think y'all could do that for mom and dad tonight? Go to bed easy? Yeah. Maybe if you're real good later this week, they might find some ice cream for you, okay? Thank y'all for coming again, kids. Miss Wood, this is...
Perfect, thank you, sir.
I'm gonna be on you.
She'll get it to you.
Oh, wow. Wow. So she's got environmental Oh, nice.
Well, that was amazing.
One of the best schools in the country. They won that award. You know, that was
Our next presentation on our agenda tonight is Wake Med. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Carolyn Canop, Senior Vice President, Strategic Ventures and Ambulatory Operations, and Andy Curtis is also here tonight. So welcome, both of y'all. You've got a tough act to follow now, but thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Our future is safe. Third grade has come a long way since I was there. I really do appreciate you giving us the opportunity tonight to really share with you a very exciting project that we have filed with the state of North Carolina. Oh, do you have my presentation? Do we have the presentation?
Yeah.
No worries, right?
May I suggest we take one break real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Then do one item before that, and then make the proclamation with the lineman, and then we'll come right back.
All right, let's move to, we're a little bit out of order tonight for everybody's time frame. Sorry, man, we'll be right back for that. We're gonna switch to item 4D. Item 4D is a proclamation for Line Worker Appreciation Day, which is April 18th of 2025. And we have some, partners with Duke Energy that partner with our town staff that are here tonight. If you gentlemen would please join me. Here in the town of Fuquay-Varina, our Public Works Department and a variety of different departments work closely with Duke Energy, especially as we know when storms arise, whether it may be a winter storm or a hurricane that comes during the summertime. And it is important, as we all know, to have power. Power has become not just a utility, but a necessity in life. And I promise you, as much as Duke Energy's phone rings, if the lights go out, my phone rings too in regards to lights with that. And so we thank y'all for being here, and thank you for working and partnering with the town right here. I want to introduce these gentlemen that are here to everybody in the room tonight. We have Derek Raymer beside us. He is the Government and Committee Relations Director for Duke Energy. And Sandy Barnhill, who is our Director of our Fuquay-Varina Operations. Mitchell Locklear, who is a line worker supervisor. We have Jared Stone, who is a line worker, and Norwood Truelove, who is a line worker. So gentlemen, thank y'all very much for being here tonight. Let me read this proclamation recognizing you. Whereas on April 10th, 2013, a resolution was passed in the United States Senate to recognize April 18th annually as National Lineman Appreciation Day. And whereas the profession of the electrical line worker is steeped in personal, family, and professional tradition. And whereas linemen who work closely with the town of Fuquay-Varina's public works and public utilities departments serve as essential first responders during storms and other disasters, collaborating with these agencies to ensure public safety and facilitate the swift restoration of vital electrical power to our community. And whereas these brave men and women work with thousands of volts of electricity high atop power lines 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, risking and sometimes losing their lives to keep electricity flowing. And whereas line workers are often faced with dangerous conditions far from their families as they work to construct and maintain energy infrastructure throughout the state of North Carolina and the United States. And whereas line workers must use their technical knowledge, physical strength, and ingenuity to achieve success and challenges they face every day. And whereas the town of Fuquay-Varina thanks those skilled and heroic line workers who brave hurricanes, ice storms, snowstorms, floods, and other natural disasters to maintain our community's energy grid. Now therefore, I, Blake Massengill, Mayor of the town of Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 18th, 2025 as Line Worker Appreciation Day in the town of Fuquay-Varina. If you would please give these gentlemen a round of applause. Derek, would you like to say some words?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Thank you. I had to have my back to you here. No, we really appreciate it. So often I get to come to these type of events, and it's really important to make sure we're really highlighting the heart and soul of our company, and these are our line workers. The 4 people standing next to me over here all were deployed to the mountains earlier this year, away from their families, and really doing the work that was needed to restore a community, but they do that every single day right here. And I just want to make sure that they are recognized for that. And so thank you all very much for having us here tonight. Thank you for the proclamation. It means the world to us. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Sure. Do we have the electronics up for Wake Med? Yes. All right. Let's go back to item 4A, presentation of Wake Med. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, no worries whatsoever. I'm just glad someone's here to take care of the technology. I'm the nurse in the crowd.
That's right.
Again, thank you so much for letting us be here tonight to share with you all our proposal for the state that we have put forth. We filed in February to add an emergency department on the campus where we currently have our medical office building on 401. For you, those of you that don't know a lot about us, we've been here for 60 years. This is really our community. Our patients and families are at the top of our pyramid, and that's what we do. That's why we're here, and those are the people that we serve. We are known for taking care of anyone in this community, regardless of their ability to pay. 80% of the Medicaid patients in this community, in this town, we absolutely take care of. And we also take care of the majority of the uninsured population to the cost of us of around $116 million annually. We are very proud about that. We are a community hospital. We are a teaching institution. We are 12,000 employees strong. Hard to believe that a year ago, we opened the MOB, the medical office building right on 401. And since that time, we've seen through the month of February, we've seen almost 22,000 patients. Now here we are at the beginning of April. I'm sure that number is far greater. The services that are offered in that building are primary care, cardiology, both adult and pediatric, surgery, urology, vascular surgery, and our orthopedic practice, which also contains physical therapy. We opened our OBGYN practice there in January, and they've already seen over 700 patients, which is just phenomenal. And then in our service area for our emergency departments, we saw 52,000 patients in fiscal year '24, which is October 1 through September for us, from the Fuquay-Varina service area. So given those statistics and the welcome that we've received from you all, we are proposing to add an emergency department on the property, and this is not meant to be an eye chart, but it is it is very difficult to read. We are proposing to place a healthplex. It's the blue building on the back on the very top slide. It's the blue building. The gray building is actually the building that currently exists, and the blue building is the proposed building that will sit towards the back of the property. This is a 12-bed emergency department where 90% of the patients will be treated and released. For those that may need a higher level of care or need to be admitted for care, we will certainly transport them to the hospital of their choice. Obviously, patients have the choice of where they receive their care. This is on the same footprint and floor plan of our other healthplexes. We currently have 4 healthplexes in our service area in Wake County. One in Briar Creek, one in Garner, one in Apex, and our newest one that we just opened in Wendell, January a year ago. EMS will certainly visit here, but also EMS will bypass this location if there certainly are trauma situations, people in active labor, people that are having active heart attacks. But that does not prevent you and I from walking into this institution and being treated, so we have to be prepared for everything. A little bit about the facility. It's 25,000 square feet. It'll be 24/7, 12 beds. We will have CT scanner, X-ray, ultrasound, a pharmacy that is responsible for taking care of the medications that the emergency department patients will need to receive, as well as a lab. And we anticipate in year 3 to see roughly about 20,000 patients. And we hope to be able to add approximately 87 jobs to the market in year 3. So just a little bit of a timeline, because this had to go to the state, and that process is, it's not an overnight process. We'll just leave it at that. So we filed our application on the 17th of February. The public comment period just ended in March, so anyone would have the opportunity to say why they agreed with the proposal or why they disagreed with the proposal. I'm very pleased to say that we had no one file comments in opposition of the emergency department, so that's the great first step. We have our public hearing with the state next Monday, and we thank those of you that will be there presenting on our behalf. The state then has an application process where they will review. It takes up to about 150 days, and that started on March the 1st. We hope to have a decision somewhere in the July, September timeframe. It just all depends on the state's workload. Then there will be a 30-day period once that decision is made. For those, if we are fortunate enough for the state to award us the certificate of need, we will need to wait 30 days for those to file comments if they oppose or if they support. And good Lord willing, and the creek doesn't rise, we will receive a certificate of need and hope to have a shovel in the ground probably in '26, giving us some time to get design and all the things we need to do with the town, and hope to open in October of '27, which feels like a long way away, but it's kind of quick. Do you all have any questions of me about the facility or anything related to Wake Med?
Let me tell you, that's an exciting time. I'm excited to be coming and advocating for you here, coming up here in just a few days. This is something important to our citizens here in Fuquay-Varina, having health care and emergency options that are close by and convenient. I mean, simply with your numbers that you mentioned a moment ago, that's 90 people a day plan to see. That's a huge amount of people right there. And it is definitely something that I know our citizens appreciate and want here.
Great. Well, we recognize that healthcare really is local, and in an emergency situation, you really want to go close to home. If you need to be transferred to a higher level of care, then we've got you covered. But at least you'll have something right in your neighborhood that's convenient.
Right.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, ma'am, for your presentation
Yes,
here. We're excited for this being our community, and citizens are welcome in it. And again, once you get the building built, we'll be see a big show of support.
Thank you.
Community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invitation.
And Andy, you've worked at Wake Med for quite some time too, and always been a great one to work with here in the town. So thank you for being here. Next item, 4B, the Fuquay-Varina Community Survey 2024. More information about this agenda item will be presented by Director Weiss and Jason Morado. Susan, good evening.
Hey. It's good to be here. This past fall, we did our second community survey. ETC Institute was our partner on that. Jason Morado with ETC is going to present tonight the findings of that survey, which are good. I think that what you'll find is that our community continues to be very satisfied with our services and find that the town of Fuquay-Varina is a great place to live. So without further ado, I'm going to let Jason take this over. How's that? Thanks, Jason.
All right, thank you. Good evening. It's great to be here. My name is Jason Morado. I'm the Director of Community Research at ETC Institute, and we're a marketing research firm that specializes in conducting community surveys for local governments. And as Susan said, this past fall, for the second time, we conducted a community survey for the town of Fuquay-Varina. So today I'm just going to walk through the key findings from the survey. I have just a little background about ETC Institute. We're a national leader in providing market research for local governments. We've been doing this type of work for over 40 years, and in the last 10 years alone, we've conducted surveys in more than 1,000 communities across the country, and that includes a lot of work for communities throughout the state of North Carolina. So this is really the type of work that we specialize in. This is just an overview of what I'll go through today. I'll go over the purpose and methodology of the survey. I'll walk through the key findings. I'll summarize our main takeaways from the survey, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions as well, if there are any. So there are several reasons to conduct a survey like this. One is to get an objective assessment of how satisfied residents are with major town services, and to determine what residents feel are the top priorities for the community. Another purpose of the survey is to measure trends over time. A lot of communities that we work with conduct these surveys on a regular basis, often every 2 to 3 years, and usually most of the questions remain the same, so you can measure trends over time. And then also with this survey, we're able to compare your results with other communities across the country. So this survey was administered by a combination of mail and online to randomly selected residents throughout Fuquay-Varina, and that mail-online combination is our standard methodology for these types of surveys. We had a good response to the survey. We ended up with 421 completed surveys. Our goal was to get to 400. And the results of the 421 surveys at the 95% level of confidence has a margin of error of plus or minus 4.8%. Essentially, that means that if we conducted this survey the same way 100 times, 95 times the results would be plus or minus 4.8% from what we're reporting. So the results are never perfect, even for a statistically valid survey like this, but the margin of error is small. And as we were administering the survey, we made sure that the demographics of survey respondents reflect the actual population of Fuquay-Varina. So here's what we learned from the survey. We found that residents have a very positive perception of Fuquay-Varina. 89% of respondents rate Fuquay-Varina as an excellent or a good place to live, which you'll see in a little bit rates significantly higher than most other communities across the country. We also found that satisfaction with services is much higher in Fuquay-Varina than other communities. You rated above the U.S. average in 47 out of the 51 areas that we compared. In most of those cases, your ratings are significantly higher. We'll look at that in more detail in a little bit as well. But there were a couple of areas that I wanted to make sure to point out. One is that satisfaction with the overall quality of town services rates 31 percentage points above the U.S. average. And that's one of the most important questions on the survey, because there we're asking residents to take into account all of the services that you're providing and really give an overall satisfaction rating for how well you're delivering services. And then one of the areas on the survey where you rate the farthest above the U.S. average is customer service provided by town employees, where you rated 41 percentage points above the U.S. average. Overall, the satisfaction ratings this year are similar to your last survey in 2022, which is good because it means that your ratings remain among the very highest in the nation. And then the top overall priorities are management of traffic, management and planning of growth and development, which those are very typical high priorities for a fast-growing community. And then other priorities include street lighting, maintenance of town streets, visibility of police in neighborhoods as well as retail areas, walking, biking, and greenway trails, and a level of public involvement in local decision-making. So first we'll look at some general perceptions that residents have of Fuquay-Varina. This was the very first question on this survey, and here we asked residents to rate their perceptions of the town in a number of different ways. You can see the dark blue are ratings of excellent, the light blue is good, the gray is neutral, and we interpret neutral as average or meeting expectations, so it's not a bad rating. And the pink are ratings of below average or poor. So obviously the positive ratings far outweigh the negative. If you look at the top of this chart, most respondents rate Fuquay-Varina as an excellent or a good place to live and to raise children. And most also gave very, very high ratings to just the overall quality of life in Fuquay-Varina. Here we ask respondents to rate major categories of town services. So in this question, we're asking residents to rate these areas at the big picture departmental level. And then later on in the survey, we ask about some more specific areas within some of these categories. So again, the blue are the positive ratings, the pink are the negative, the gray are in the middle, not bad ratings, but an average of 3 on the 5-point scale. And you can see overall the positive ratings far outweigh the negative. The only two areas that had significant levels of dissatisfaction were planning growth and development and managing traffic, which again is very typical for fast-growing communities. The highest rated areas were fire and police services, customer service provided by town employees, and then just the overall quality of services provided by Fuquay-Varina. We also asked respondents how safe they feel in various situations. You can see very, very few residents in any of these scenarios feel unsafe. The ratings are very high in all these situations. They were very high in 2022 as well, but in all 6 of these areas, their ratings have actually improved a little bit since the 2022 survey. And then we saw earlier that respondents gave very high ratings to the overall quality of customer service. Here we asked respondents who have actually interacted with town employees to rate their interactions with employees. And you can see these ratings are very, very positive. Respondents gave very high ratings to employees being courteous and polite, doing what they said they would do in a timely manner, giving prompt, accurate, and complete answers to questions, and then helping residents resolve issues to their level of satisfaction. So we also found that residents in all areas of Fuquay-Varina are satisfied with the overall quality of town services. Here we have a map of Fuquay-Varina, and what we did here is broke the results out by census block group. So this tells us if residents in different parts of the town rate services differently. This first map is for the overall quality of town services. You can see the entire map is blue. There's actually a couple of areas that are in dark blue, which is the highest possible rating. So this tells us residents in all parts of Fuquay-Varina are satisfied with the overall quality of town services. This map shows how residents feel about Fuquay-Varina as a place to live. And again, not only is the entire map blue, but there are a lot of areas in dark blue, which is the highest possible rating. And then this map shows how residents feel about Fuquay-Varina as a place to raise children. And again, you can see the results are very, very positive in all parts of the town. So I mentioned earlier that satisfaction with town services is much higher in Fuquay-Varina than other communities. Fuquay-Varina rated above the U.S. average in 47 out of the 51 areas that we compared. And that includes significantly higher in 46 of those areas. And by significant, we mean 5% or more above the U.S. average. And then you also rate above the regional average in 44 of 51 areas. So for these next few charts, the dark blue line are Fuquay-Varina residents who are either very satisfied or satisfied. The light blue are the satisfaction ratings for residents in the Atlantic region. That includes the state of North Carolina as well as surrounding states. And then the gray bar are the satisfaction ratings for residents from all across the U.S. And as we go through these, I put blue arrows by the places where you rate significantly above the regional and national average, red arrows by places where you rate significantly below. So this first chart's for perceptions of the town. You can see Fuquay-Varina rates significantly higher than other communities as a place to live, as a place to raise their children. When it comes to the overall value received for tax dollars and fees, and then as a place to work. This chart is for major categories of town services. You can see in most areas, Fuquay-Varina rates significantly higher than other communities. The two areas where you rate the farthest above other communities are customer service provided by town employees, and the overall quality of town services. Other areas where you rate much higher include parks and greenways, communication with the public, water and sewer, and then code enforcement. The only areas that rate lower are managing and planning for growth, and then traffic, which again is common for fast-growing communities. This chart was related to town leadership. You can see we asked respondents about the effectiveness of town management and staff, leadership of town elected officials, then the availability of opportunities for citizens to provide input. And in all three areas, Fuquay-Varina rates significantly above the regional and national average. We asked residents how safe they feel in various situations, and you can see in all of these areas, Fuquay-Varina rates significantly above the U.S. average. One of the areas that especially stands out is the overall feeling of safety in Fuquay-Varina, where you had a 93% satisfaction rating. National average is only 66%. So I mentioned that overall the satisfaction ratings this year are similar to your last survey in 2022, which is good because in 2022 your ratings were among the very highest in the nation. Now here are the areas that had among the biggest increases and decreases in satisfaction since your last survey. The biggest increases were related to special events, the availability of information about programs, classes, and performances, and that's related to the Arts Center, locating information on the town's website, the quality of programming and classes at the Arts Center, and then the feeling of safety in your neighborhood. The biggest decreases in satisfaction since your last survey were water and sewer services, efforts to manage stormwater, parks and greenways, maintenance of sidewalks, and then maintenance of streets and sidewalks. So now we'll take a look at top priorities. We saw earlier how satisfied residents are with major categories of town services. As a follow-up question, we asked which of these services should receive the most emphasis from town leaders over the next 2 years. So you can see by a wide margin, the top two priorities are managing traffic and then management and planning of growth and development. This is something that we call the important satisfaction rating. This analysis is based on two different types of data, and this is something that we use to help communities set priorities. The idea behind this is that those areas that have a combination of low satisfaction ratings, but at the same time are rated as the most important, are the areas we recommend as the highest priorities to focus on. So this first table is for overall quality of town services. You can see the top priorities are traffic and then planning, growth and development. The next highest priority is just overall maintenance of town streets and sidewalks. This table focuses specifically on maintenance. You can see the top priorities are street lighting, maintenance of town streets, and then maintenance of sidewalks. This is for public safety and fire services. You can see the top priorities are the visibility of police in neighborhoods as well as retail areas, enforcing traffic laws, and then efforts to prevent crime. When it comes to communication, the top priority is the level of public involvement in local decision-making, transparent, trusted, and clear town communication, and then efforts to keep residents informed. And then when it comes to parks and recreation and the Arts Center, the top priorities are the number of walking, biking, and greenway trails, and then senior programs. And then here we ask respondents what future topics should receive the most emphasis over the next 2 years. You can see by a pretty wide margin the top priorities investing in roads and sidewalks. Other priorities include creating a vibrant downtown, and enhancing public safety. So just a quick recap, we saw that residents have a very positive perception of Fuquay-Varina. There are a lot of examples of that in the survey, but some of the areas that really stood out were how high Fuquay-Varina rated as a place to live and as a place to raise children. We saw that satisfaction with town services is much higher at Fuquay-Varina than other communities. There are a lot of examples of that as well, but a couple that really stood out were the overall quality of town services and the customer service from employees. The satisfaction ratings are similar to 2022, which is good because those ratings are some of the highest in the country. The top overall priorities are traffic and planning, growth, and development. And then other priorities, and this is based on those important satisfaction tables that we saw, are street lighting, maintenance of town streets, visibility of police in neighborhoods and retail areas, the number of walking, biking, and greenway trails, and then the level of public involvement in local decision-making. So that is everything that I had. Obviously, very, very positive results overall. Once again, just like the last survey in 2022. So with that, if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Jason, thank you for the information presentation. I think it's good that we continue to do this, just like you saw a couple years ago, and continue doing that to keep the pulse with the community right there. I'm glad to see some facts in here, such as the high satisfaction rate that our citizens, our customers have with the level of customer service that the town provides, that we all provide them, and it's a great place to live. That's those numbers are high and well above national averages, as you mentioned. I think that's something that we work hard for in Fuquay-Varina for the citizens. I think that, as you mentioned, our two top priorities are no surprise to anybody on this board, and that continues to be the top two priorities of this board is traffic and planning for growth. And I do believe that our next customer service survey should see some improvement in those areas. We have a lot of projects on the way, and that's just resounding to the board to know that that continues to be a top priority of the community, and so we know all feel good about that right there. 2 years was the last one. Every 2 years is a good time frame. What do you think about the frequency of a community survey? What's needed?
Yeah, that every other year is the most common time frame. So I think that's a good time frame. Yeah, that's the most common time. It's far enough in between where you can see improvements in areas where you've invested resources, but then also it's not so far away to where you don't know what impact it changes. So yeah, every other year is a very good and common time frame.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions or comments from board members?
Pretty
Mr.
exciting.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I always have questions.
Commissioner Harris, go ahead.
Out of the respondents, there were 421 respondents.
Right. Yes.
Was one of the questions in regards to the respondents the length of residency in Fuquay-Varina?
Yes, these respondents are all from residents who live within the boundaries of Fuquay-Varina.
I'm talking about the length of time in Fuquay-Varina. For example, if someone had been here 5 years or less, or 20 years or more. I was just wondering if that was part of the population of the respondents.
Yeah, that was one of the questions on the survey. We asked respondents how long they've lived at their current residence.
Okay.
And we had a good mix of those who have lived at their current residence for just a few years on up to more than 20 years, and everything in between. So we had a really good mix of that.
Okay. All right, that was my question. I just wondered the perception of people who have been here only 2 years as opposed to people who have been here 20 years and their response to a particular need based on the survey. But if you've taken care of that, that's reflective of the feedback that you received. Am I correct?
Right. Yeah, and that's a great point. We made sure we had a good distribution among newer and longtime residents, but one thing we could do is break the results out for that question to see what the differences are between newer residents and longtime ones. The results are obviously very positive really across the board in just about every category, but that's something we could do is look at it a little deeper and break out the results by that question.
I think it would be important. I think it's positive because I think when people move here from other areas, they have somewhat a different expectation and perception of what the role of the town government should be as opposed to someone who has lived here 10, 15, 20 years. I think that their perspective would be valuable as well, and it would be good to know that kind of information. I think in regards to those areas that you identified, priorities, trends, and those kinds of things. I think it would be very helpful to us as a board.
Right. Yeah,
Those are my
absolutely.
comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Harris. Thank you for your information, sir. We appreciate that much.
Okay, yeah, and I had one more thing I wanted to go on to. Sorry, it's okay. So obviously, your results for Fuquay-Varina rate much higher than the national average in just about every category, and that leads me to something called the Leading the Way Award. ETC Institute created the Leading the Way Award about 5 years ago, and the reason we create this award was for a way to recognize local governments who do an excellent job providing services to their residents. And in order to win this award, you have to rank in the top 10% of all local governments across the country in 3 core areas on our community survey. And these are questions we ask in all of our community surveys that we conduct all over the country. Those 3 areas are the overall quality of town services, the overall value residents receive for tax dollars and fees, and then the overall customer service provided by town employees. And if you have a total composite score of at least 210 in those 3 areas, then you're considered you rank in the top 10% in the country in those 3 areas, and then we award you the Leading the Way Award. So I just wanted to mention that we just gave this award out. We just announced the winners. And Fuquay-Varina received a score of 215, which ranks you in the top 10% in the country in providing a service to residents. So I just wanted to congratulate you on that. I've actually got, quite heavy, here it is. Just wanted to present the reward. So congratulations to the mayor, to the board, all staff on winning this award. So here it is. I put a picture on my slide, but here's the actual real thing. And yeah, if no one's held it yet, it's quite heavy. Yeah, be careful you don't drop it. So congratulations to everyone on this.
Thank you.
Board, thank you. Yeah. Y'all want to take a picture together? Big Gabby Award.
Yeah, all right.
Susan gonna be in the picture?
No. Yes, Jason.
I can move around. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Appreciate it. Susan, will you display this proudly for the citizens of Fuquay-Varina? Susan, I'll put this right here, good display it. Thank you. Item 4C, presentation redesign town website. More information about the agenda item will be presented by Communications Director Weiss. Thanks,
Good
Susan.
Good evening.
Big project you've been working on.
Yes, it is. So I'm excited tonight to present what we think has been a successful website refresh project, which began this past June with our vendor, Civic Plus. So I'm going to walk you through some of the changes that have been made, and hopefully you actually have been able to kind of go through the website. It's been up, I think we launched about a week ago, 10 days ago. Our main goal with this refresh project was to create a cleaner design, make navigation simpler, and to put the services and information that our citizens use most right at their fingertips. There's a great deal of information right on our home page. And so we think we've actually done a lot, achieved most of those goals. Our new website is fully responsive. It looks great on a computer, but it also looks great on mobile and on a tablet. We've made a big push towards accessibility, working with our contributors across our organization to audit their content. We started that early in the process. So we've audited our content. We've worked with them to understand ADA guidelines and to write in plain language so we can all understand what we're talking about when we're talking about complex stuff. Government can be very complex. We're using software actually to help us comply with the accessibility standards, ensuring everyone can easily access information that they need. And we believe that it's going to help our residents to stay better informed and connected with our town. The Town of Fuquay-Varina website welcomed over 1.3 million visitors last year. That's a lot of people connecting with our community. And it connects them with vital information and town updates. So I'm going to try and walk you through some of the changes that we've made and hopefully not get lost myself because, you know, technology here. But anyway, so as you can see at the top, if you used our website, at the very top, the top-down navigation says government services, recreation, enjoyment, and general information. And if you're counting, we've gone from 6 top-down navigation to 4. We've actually moved departments under government, and there was a very specific reason that we did that. People in our community don't really know how we work. And what I mean by that is they don't have to understand where their garbage service is performed out of. They don't have to know that it's done out of public works. They just want to know that they're getting their garbage service, right? So we have created a services tab. So if they want to know where their service is, they don't have to know what comes out of public works. They just need to go to services, and then they can go to garbage, right? So here we go. And then we've got this wonderful, wonderful thing where you can actually just put your address in here and you can figure out what day your garbage service comes, right? So I'm not going to put anybody's address in here, but, and then we just hit the logo and come back here. So this is, I mean, it's really kind of cool that, I mean, all you need to do, government over here, I mean, we've got all the normal stuff that we've always had, which is the boards and the commissions, and we have our departments, and everything is kind of government oriented. It's going to be under government. Our services, you can pretty much find any service that you want, recreation, and then we've got all of our general information over here. Okay. Now we've got this really wonderful kind of infomercial in our banner, right? I mean, it invites you with a slice of life video right here, and I mean, and we're going to change that, you know, every few months to let people kind of know what's going on and invite them into our community. On the right side, in our small search bar, you can see our social media, right? And that's going to easily take anybody who wants to go to our social media pages. Up top, up front, they can go to that. And I encourage people to go to our social media pages. We post on those every day, okay? That's where you're going to find, you know, your up to date, every, you know, information. We're going to post there. Okay. If we go down to our graphic buttons, what you find here is this whole page again, our whole home page has been designed so people can really get to the information that they want and need the quickest. These buttons are for the most used pages. Parks and Rec, that button is going to take you, I've got the stat, and I'm going to look it up here. Parks and Rec is the #3 most visited page with a gateway to 9 of the top 20 most visited pages. So if we go here, this is going to help you find so much, like the top 9 of the 20 most visited pages on our website, right? Online services, highly used, and, waste and recycling. Utility services and billing is the number 2 most visited page on our website with almost 90,000 pages, or 90,000 visits. And then, of course, contact us is incredibly important because we want everybody to be able to contact us if they need information. So as you go down the page, Fuquay-Varina popular resources, Fuquay-Varina, fast-growing, future-focused, exceptional services for a safe and vibrant community. So now we have 6 other buttons that take us to frequently visited pages. Art Center, Communications Central will take you to a variety of resources, from our weekly newsletter to focus newsletter to press releases, to signing up for newsletters, all sorts of information. Maps, town employment, transparency portal. And then you've got a variety of information that anybody seeking kind of public information, this transparency portal will do it. Come with me. Okay. Then we go down more. We've got news and events. On the left side, you've got news. On the right side, you've got your calendar. And if you want to go in here, it can take you to the full calendar. Okay. More popular links, because we want to make it really easy for people to find the information that they want. Athletic field status is the number 5 most frequented page on our website. But you can also find it on Parks and Rec. There's a million ways to find information on the website. And then, because we have so many town projects going on, we highlight in buckets down here what's coming to Fuquay-Varina: transportation projects, economic development projects, and public utilities projects. And these are all updated, and people can find out what's going on at the town of Fuquay-Varina. Now, hopefully, the cleaner design and the easier way of getting to it will make people think it's even easier on the next community survey. And I would like to thank Alex Bauman, our communications and marketing specialist, who had a great deal to do with helping to put this together. So, if you got any questions?
Susan, as you know, with your job in communications is to get information out there to the public. And so anytime we can improve how we do that and make it easier and simpler to do something. Obviously, when you use a same website every day, you know where something is, but we got tons of new people coming into our town every day that are learning, don't know where things are to find on the website. And so by making this easier for them, it makes their life easier coming in town, and it makes staff able to service them too at the same time right there. And so I like a lot how you have put, you knew the data to show the most common used area, most common types of things, and try to put those at the front. And then also try to, in addition to that, know what somebody's coming to our area, what information they want to find there. And so, excuse me, I think that's great. And so I think it's going to be a really clean, great website. And so appreciate you and Alex working hard to bring this for our citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, we jumped around. Let me make sure I hadn't missed any presentations. All right, moving on to public comment period. At this time, the town clerk will call on individuals that are in attendance and have registered to address the town board prior to the meeting. The public comment period is a time for the public to address the town board about any matter that is not the subject of a scheduled public hearing. Those speaking are asked to begin by clearly stating your name and address for the public record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or more, that all who wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. Teresa, do you have anybody signed up?
We have one person, Kelly Reyes.
Kelly, welcome.
Good evening. My name's Kelly Rios. I live at 1558 Lake Louise Lane in Fuquay-Varina. I'd like to begin by identifying the location of Old Honeycutt Park. This is the intersection of Old Honeycutt Road and Weststone Boulevard, excuse me. On the opposite side of the street is known as Fitness Drive, on the south side of Old Honeycutt. I'd like to acknowledge that there is a public park that includes town soccer fields, tennis courts, a playground, and an entrance to a greenway. This also is the location of Clubworks, which does have a good amount of traffic coming in and out. On the north side of Old Honeycutt is the neighborhood of Willow Creek, and behind that is Lakestone Village, which is where I reside. Many of the residents in both neighborhoods frequently walk to the park, myself included. I walk my dog there 3 times a week. There is no crosswalk at that intersection. I would like to add that the same greenway crosses Highway 55. There is a crosswalk with a signal and flashing lights, which I do understand the speed limit is much higher there. I frequently have trouble crossing the street with my dog to access the park. I know several other residents have complained as well. I've put in several requests over the past year via the town portal. I received 1 response after 6 months stating that it was being looked into. This is well over a year now. As this area continues to grow, including the new development that will be at the intersection of Old Honeycutt Park and Purfoy Road, there is an increased amount of traffic on that road. No one stops to let me cross the street, and I've seen others who have not been able to, no one stops for them as well. I have been cursed at, honked, all for trying to cross the street and access to the park. This is a hazard for everyone. I hope someone doesn't have to be injured in order for there to be a lined crosswalk there. I can't really understand why there wouldn't be a crosswalk there in the first place. I hope this town would want to encourage its residents to engage in an active lifestyle, and things like this will make it easier and safer for us to do so. I hope this matter can be addressed soon, and if it already is being addressed, thank you. That's all.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Tracy Stevenson, right there in the blue shirt, led us on our invocation earlier tonight. He's in charge of public works and handles streets and sidewalks. And so, Tracy, if you'd circle up with her after in the hallway, but give her some information to talk to her about that, Tracy. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very
much. Tracy, do you have anybody else signed up?
No, I do not.
Thank you for your comments. Public hearings are a time for the petitioner to present his or her request and for the public to give input and voice their favor or opposition to the request. If you wish to speak and are physically in attendance, please step forward to the podium 1 at a time. Provide your name and address on the registration log at the podium and clearly state your name and address for the public record. We ask all those addressing the town board to please limit your comments to 3 minutes or that all who wish to speak may be heard in a timely manner. First public hearing, item 7A, voluntary annexation petition, Haddock Properties 5 LLC, 2401 North Broad Street, ANX 2025-02. More information about the agenda will be presented by Planning Director Davidson. Pam, good evening.
Good evening. I'm supporting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider approving an annexation ordinance extending the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina following receipt of a petition for voluntary annexation of property located at 2401 North Broad Street, owned by Haddock Properties 5 LLC. The 3.168 parcel is contiguous to the town's corporate limits. Public water and sewer are not currently available to serve the subject property. However, the developer will extend both utilities as part of the development. A fire flow test nearby resulted in adequate flow. Town sanitation and recycling services are not applicable as the subject property is commercially zoned. At the March 2024-2025 meeting, the town clerk certified that the petition was sufficient and met the requirements prescribed by the North Carolina General Statutes, and the town board adopted a resolution setting a public hearing for tonight's town board meeting. The present total value of the properties being annexed is $564,001. The suggested motion tonight is to adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by Haddock Properties 5 LLC, ANX 2025-02, and to approve the declaration of annexation as presented and recommended. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions at this time? Hold the public hearing. Thank you. The hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, board members. I'm Wayne Malden with Malden Market Surveying, 139 North Main Street here in Fuquay. We put this petition together that you have before you tonight for Haddock Properties. The site, as most of you know, is out on 55 across from the greenscape. They have started moving some dirt. And water and sewer is in that area, and we plan on extending it to the site. If anybody have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the voluntary annexation petition? Hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what's the pleasure of the board? Entertain motion so moved or substitute motion?
So moved.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next public hearing, item 7B, voluntary annexation petition 614 Old Honeycutt LLC, 614 Old Honeycutt Road, ANX-2025-03. More information about this item will be presented by Planning Director Davison.
I am submitting this agenda abstract and supporting documents in the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider approving an annexation ordinance extending the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina following receipt of a petition for voluntary annexation of property located at 614 Old Honeycutt Road, owned by 614 Old Honeycutt LLC. The 18.8218 acre parcel is contiguous to the town's corporate limits. Public water and sewer are available to serve the subject property, and a fire flow test resulted in adequate flow. Town sanitation and recycling services are available to serve the residential portion of the proposed development. At the March 24th, 2025 meeting, the town clerk certified that the petition was sufficient and met the requirements prescribed by the North Carolina general statutes, and the town board adopted a resolution setting a public hearing for tonight's town board meeting. The present total value of the properties being annexed is $2,549,600. The suggested motion tonight is to adopt the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Fuquay-Varina to include property owned by 614 Old Honeycutt LLC, ANX 2025-03, as presented and recommended. I'm available for any questions.
All right, thank you, Director Davison. Hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the voluntary annexation petition? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the voluntary annexation petition? Hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what's the pleasure of the board? Entertain a motion so moved or substitute motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing, item 7C, zoning map amendment, DRB Group North Carolina LLC, 501 and 509 and 517 Sunset Drive, REZ-2024-12. More information about this item will be presented by Planning Director Davison. Pam, you've been busy tonight.
This is my night. I'm submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents in the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider approving a requested zoning map amendment for 17.21 acres located at 501, 509, and 517 Sunset Drive from the residential, agricultural, and residential low-density zoning districts to the Town Center Residential, TCR zoning district. The proposed conditions include clarifying the allowed uses, committing to providing access to adjacent parcels, and architectural standards that ensure variety and prevent monotony. The requested zoning district is consistent with the 2040 land use plan and the land use plan's goals of supporting infill development and reinvestment in downtown neighborhoods. Per direction of the engineering director, the extension of West Ransom Street will not be required as the current configuration ends in a parking lot. an official engineering exemption from LDO 9-1605, requiring subdivisions proposing 25 to 120 lots to provide one public access connection to a Type 8 thoroughfare was also granted. Due to this development's unique location and infill nature, connecting to a Type 8 thoroughfare is not possible. Instead of the required connection, and to further disperse traffic, the developer has committed to constructing Hillcrest Drive in the off-site existing public right-of-way to the intersection with Hillcrest Circle. This master plan proposes 111 townhomes with 6.87 acres of open space, of which 1.29 acres will be activated with primary and secondary amenities like tot lots, dog parks, walking trails, and picnic areas. The development serves to transition development density and intensity between the apartments and medical facility to the east and the single-family detached lots to the west. In response to questions raised at the planning board meeting, additional information was provided by the petitioner pertaining to who was in attendance at the neighborhood meetings. At its regular meeting on March 17, 2025, the planning board unanimously recommended approval. The motion tonight, suggested motion, is to approve REZ 2024-12, a zoning map amendment for 501, 509, and 517 Sunset Drive from the residential agricultural and residential low-density zoning districts to the town center residential zoning district, as it is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for Director Davis before we open the hearing? Okay, thank you, Director Davidson. Hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment?
Hi, my name is Jackson McConnell, 1101 Slater Road, Durham, North Carolina. I'm the Land Entitlements Manager with DRB Group, the developer of this project. I'm just here to answer any questions that if any are needed of the developer. We're very excited about this and looking forward to it. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the zoning map amendment? Hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what is the pleasure of the board? Entertain a motion so moved or a substitute motion?
So moved.
Have a motion? Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing, item 7D, zoning map amendment and land use plan amendment. Steve Hamilton, 900 and 904 West Academy Street, REZ-2024-19. More information about the agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison.
I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents in the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a requested zoning map amendment for a total of 1.233 acres located at 900 and 904 West Academy Street from the residential low-density zoning district to the general commercial conditional zoning district and corresponding land use plan amendment. Although the requested zoning map amendment is not consistent with the 2040 Community Vision Land Use Plan, classification of single-family neighborhood and open space, the petitioner has opted to request a change of the land use plan to suburban commercial and open space, which is compatible with the property's existing use. The requested zoning district also supports the land use plan's goal to encourage infill development and redevelopment inside town limits and to encourage commercial development. The proposed conditions will serve to limit future uses and add standards for site lighting and perimeter buffers. At its regular meeting on March 17, 2025, the Planning Board unanimously recommended approval. The suggested motion tonight is to approve REZ 2024-19, a zoning map amendment for 900 and 904 West Academy Street from the residential low-density zoning district to the general commercial conditional zoning district and the corresponding land use plan amendment from single-family neighborhood and open space classifications to the suburban commercial and open space classifications, as it is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Director Davison. Hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment and land use amendment? Johnny Adcock, good evening.
Mayor, good evening. Good evening, members of the board. John Adcock with the Adcock Law Firm at 202 East Academy Street. Mayor, this rezoning request is about a business, Hamilton Auto. It's It's been in existence since 1957. And there are 3 parcels. One parcel is zoned commercial. The other 2 parcels are part of the business as well. And this is just simply a request to consolidate the zoning that lines up with the use of the property. I'd be glad to answer any questions. And Steve Hamilton's here as well to answer any questions.
Thank you, John. Does anyone wish to speak in favor, anyone else wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment and land use amendment? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the zoning map amendment and land use amendment? Hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what's the pleasure of the board? Entertain a motion so moved or substitute motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Hamilton, I thought you looked familiar right there. I know a lot of people that have bought a lot of cars from you over the years right there. And so, thank you, sir. Next item 7E, zoning map amendment, Wayne Malden, Malden Watkins, survey in PA 629 West Academy Street, REZ-2025-01. More information about agenda item will be presented by Plan Director Davison. Almost there, Pamela.
I am on a roll. Submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents in the official records of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider requesting zoning map amendment for a total of 1.44 acres located at 629 West Academy Street from the residential, agricultural, and residential low-density zoning districts to the neighborhood commercial conditional zoning district. The proposed rezoning is consistent with the 2040 land use plan and supports the land use plan's goals of encouraging commercial development. The proposed conditions limit the future use of the property, ensuring proposed uses fit the character of the area. At its regular meeting on March 17, 2025, the Planning Board unanimously recommended approval. The suggested motion tonight is to approve REZ 2025-01, a zoning map amendment for 629 West Academy Street from the residential, agricultural, and residential low-density zoning districts to the neighborhood commercial conditional zoning district, as it is reasonable in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions this time? Okay, thank you. Hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment?
Mr. Mayor, board members, again, Wayne Malden with Malden Watkins Surveying at 139 North Main Street here in Fuquay. We put this petition together for Mr. Klein for this piece of property. Most of you know it's got all the Christmas lights at Christmas time at the intersection of Judd Parkway and 42. The traffic out in that area is not really suited for a residential house right there in the middle of the intersection. So Mr. Klein has had it for sale for quite some time. Nobody seems to want it for a residential house, but he has had some interest in some businesses going in there. So that's what we're asking for tonight, is something for a neighborhood service type lawyer, doctor's office or something like that to be able to relocate it in there. If any of you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer. No,
Thank you, Wayne. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the zoning map amendment? Hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? If not, what's the pleasure of the board? Entertain a motion so moved or substitute motion?
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing, item 7F, Town Code Amendment, Town of Fuquay-Varina Land Development Ordinance, Amendment Number 29, CTA-2025-01. More information about the agenda item will be presented by Plan Director Davison before she's off the hook.
Only one more tonight after this. I'm submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official record of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a proposed text amendment to the Town Code of Ordinances, Part 9, Land Development Ordinance, Amendment 29, that addresses several areas for improvement. The highlights of this amendment are: we've provided an allowance for parsonages as an accessory use at a place of worship. We've cleaned up and standardized the townhouse setback standards across the zoning districts. We've renamed the expanded minor development option to an exempt major, as it better describes the process. We've shifted the responsibility to approve sureties to the town manager to streamline the development process and better align with our peer communities. We've clarified when in the site plan process exemptions for frontage improvements may be requested. The sign standards in Article L have undergone a minor rewrite and reorganization to modernize their terminology. And we've added acceptance certifications for dedicated right-of-way on minor and exempt plats in response to changes made to Wake County's recordation requirements. At the March 17, 2025 regular meeting, the Planning Board voted unanimously to recommend approval of the text amendment as presented by staff. Since the Planning Board meeting, further clarifying language has been added to the section on construction exemptions for site plan related to right-of-way requirements. The suggested motion tonight is to approve CTA 2025-01, Amendment Number 29, an amendment to the Town Code of Ordinances, Part 9, Land Development Ordinance, as presented and recommended by staff. The text amendment improves upon the Land Development Ordinance and is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by management and staff. I know there's a lot in this one, so I'm available for any questions.
Question? All right, we'll hold a public hearing. Thank you, Director Davison. Hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the Town Code Amendment? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the Town Code Amendment? Hearing is now closed. Any discussion by the board? What's the pleasure of the board? We can entertain a motion so moved or substitute motion.
Mayor Massengill, I move that we approve this motion as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. No consent agenda items tonight. Last item for Director Davidson. Administrative report, item 10A, preliminary subdivision plat, Springville South subdivision, SUB-PR-2024-07. More information about agenda item will be presented by Planning Director Davison.
I am submitting the agenda abstract and supporting documents into the official record of the town. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a preliminary subdivision plat submitted by Withers Ravenel for the Springville South subdivision located at 3799 Wellfleet Drive. The preliminary subdivision plat proposes 22 single-family detached lots. The minimum lot width permitted and proposed is 70 feet. The minimum lot size required is 10,000 square feet, with a minimum lot size provided of 10,150 square feet and an average lot size of 12,179 square feet. This subdivision does not require open space. However, 2.59 acres or 25.8% of the project area is proposed as open space. Public water and sewer are available to serve the development. The proposed preliminary subdivision plat meets all town requirements. Management and staff recommend approval. At the March 17, 2025 regular meeting, the Planning Board found the subdivision plat consistent with town requirements and voted unanimously to recommend approval. The motion tonight is to approve the Springville South subdivision preliminary subdivision plat, SUB-PR 2024-07, located at 3799 Wellfleet Drive, as presented and recommended. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for Director Davison in regards to this? This is just a continuation, Director Davison, of the Springville subdivision with single-family houses right back there. Okay. No questions for Director Davison. We can entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the Springville South subdivision preliminary subdivision plat located at 3799 Wellfleet Drive as presented and recommended.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10B, utility allocation request, Academy Village Mixed Use. More information about agenda item will be presented by Public Utilities Director Wagner. Mike, it's your turn.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. MPV Properties LLC has submitted a utility allocation request for water and sewer capacity at the Academy Village Mixed Use Development. This capacity request is above the normal developer limit of 2 years for capacity. On October 7th, 2004, the town board and the developer, or the town and the developer entered into an agreement to reserve capacity for a period of 5 years to ensure that they had time to get their projects vertical and reserve that capacity in the downstream Eastern Regional Pump Station. The developers agreement also said that the time that it would start would be at the time of the utility allocation approval or the time of the developer agreement, whichever was later. So we've gotten to a point in the plan review where we now feel comfortable to sign the state water and sewer permits, and we've brought this to you for approval. This mixed-use project consists of single-family lots, multifamily units, and a shopping center. The utility allocation request for sewer is 127,907 gallons per day, and the water request is 105,830 gallons per day. The recommended motion by staff is to approve the utility allocation request for Academy Village mixed-use lots as presented and recommended.
Excuse me, Mike, sorry about that. Thank you. Any questions or comments for Mike? What's timeline? Mike, any updated timelines on this project?
I believe I just approved the water and sewer permits, so I think they're approaching the first, the end of the first round of CDs. So
yeah.
So hopefully everything will go vertical within the next 5 years.
And sooner than that, there's some good commercial uses there that we're hoping for. That's exactly right.
Yes.
So, thank you, Director Wagner. All right, we entertain.
Motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10C, consultant selection, Police Department needs assessment and feasibility study. More information about the agenda item will be presented by Director Cox. Jonathan, good evening.
Good evening, Board. Hope everyone is well. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider selecting the best qualified firm for the Police Department needs assessment and feasibility study project and authorize the town manager or designee to negotiate scope and fee. Per North Carolina General Statute 143-6431, town staff solicited requests for qualifications for architectural and engineering consultants for the Police Department needs assessment and feasibility study on January 6. Town staff received 9 RFQ responses from highly qualified firms on February 7th. The RFQs were reviewed and scored by a selection committee consisting of Assistant Town Manager Matthews, Public Buildings Superintendent Krasinski, Police Chief Smith, and Police Captains Gathman, Connerly, and Walsh. Based on the scoring criteria established in the request for qualifications, the 2 highest scoring firms were invited to interview with the town on March 27th. Considering the entire evaluation process, town staff determined Architects Design Group to be the most qualified team to complete the project. Management staff recommend town board designate Architect Design Group as the best qualified firm. Upon selection, management and staff will work with ADG to develop a scope of work and fee that aligns with the Police Department needs assessment and feasibility study identified in FY25 budget. As a fiscal note, upon the town board selecting the best qualified firm, management and staff will attempt to negotiate a fair and reasonable price consistent with industry norms. Town management and staff anticipate bringing a negotiated scope and fee with terms to a future town board meeting. The FY25 budget includes funding of $50,000 for the Police Department needs assessment and feasibility study. The recommendation by motion tonight is to designate Architect Design Group as the best qualified and preferred firm to perform the Police Department needs assessment and feasibility study and authorize a town manager or designee to negotiate scope and fee subject to town attorney review as to form. And I'll be glad to answer any questions the board might have.
Questions for Director Cox? I almost called you Director Davidson for a second. Director Cox. Okay. This
Director
here.
Cox taking on new responsibilities in the police department?
You know, I don't think they're going to let him carry a badge, but Director Cox does typically handle the expansion of our facilities there, existing facilities, and so.
Well, he did a really good job on the community center north.
I appreciate that. Yeah, this falls under the public buildings, which falls under Parks and Recreation.
Which
So
came in
I'll be
under.
assisting through the process.
Under budget and ahead of schedule.
I like it.
So you gotta do it again.
Yep.
That's right, and the chief's ready for that. It's right there. So as our department has continued to grow, though, this is something that we have discussed and been aware of that was coming for expansions right there. So get it done. Thank you.
Thank you.
We entertain a motion to move. Motion to move.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And that's Hilltop Needmore Community Center.
Thank you for the correction, Mayor.
Oh, buddy. All right, other business. Item 11A, Town Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. We have a few things I want to mention this evening from our various departments, as well as a lengthy list of events that are upcoming that are on your agenda materials that I would draw your attention to. First, as it relates to our fire department, I'm happy and pleased to report that all 4 new fire engines were officially placed into service on Thursday, April 3rd, and all of them have answered multiple calls since being in service. So just as soon as we got plates on them and inspected and ready to hit the road, they're serving the public as they were designed to do. So we're excited about that. The push-in ceremony for the new fire engines is scheduled for Thursday, April 10th, this Thursday at 5 p.m., and this will be before our first Follow Me to Fuquay spring concert of the season. So we encourage you to go to Fire Station 1 for the push-in ceremony at 5 p.m. if you're available to do that. Our fire department gave it the old college try and gave it a valiant effort in competing against the police department at the Holsters and Hoses Bed Build event with Sleepin' Heavily Peace this past Saturday. They did a fantastic job. They came up one bed short to the police department. Both groups built 49 beds in less than 90 minutes, which is pretty impressive. And this goes a long ways to making a difference in the lives of children in our community. So we want to thank both fire department and the police department for your generosity and efforts there, and a lot of community members. Mayor, I think you were out there as well.
I was going to say, Manager, I was there. When I was there, it's probably over 100 people there and split pretty evenly between the two teams, blue shirts and red shirts. And more than 100 people there. So I bet you I had over 50 people per team there, maybe 200 people there on that. And y'all working hard. It was a lot of community supporters, a lot of volunteers within the two departments and family members, and it was very impressive. Rather, just as you said, the amount of beds that are built in our community for our community, and also going to other areas that are in need right there. So it was good. It, as far as I could tell, it was a tie between the two of them, but the numbers didn't say that.
And finally, as it relates to the fire department, David Giorgetti completed all of the requirements in his career ladder efforts and was promoted to firefighter 2. So we want to congratulate David on his advancing in the fire department. Transitioning to the police department, I will say that Brody Smith has progressed through the career ladder as well, and he's obtained a police officer 2 status, and Kevin Bissett has progressed through the career ladder and obtained corporal status with the police department. We want to congratulate both of them on their career advancements. And the police department attended the Eid Festival this past Saturday at Al Noor Islamic Center. So another way that our police department is getting out in the community and building those relationships. The street sweeper for our Public Works Department, the replacement that was included in the 2024 budget, has finally been delivered and has been placed into service. So we're happy to have that new piece of equipment helping to keep our streets clean in our community. The Follow Me to Fuquay-Varina series, as I mentioned earlier, kicks off this Thursday night. The Embers are going to be back in town. They're always a fan favorite and draw a huge crowd. So we welcome them back to our community. And our Easter egg hunt will be on Saturday, April 12th at Fleming Loop Park, and it will start promptly at 10 a.m. And please arrive early if you know of anyone who's going to be participating in that event to allow time to find parking, as this event has grown extremely popular in our community. As it pertains to our finance department, we are finalizing the recommended budget for our upcoming budget workshop, which will be next week on April 15th. And in the crowd today, I want to recognize Mark, if you'll please stand up, our new finance director, Mark Stevens, started with us today. And so we're excited to have Mark on board. He is a CPA and also been had various finance director roles in various communities, both in Harnett County and in Wake County. And so a great deal of experience that he brings to our organization. And we want to just say welcome, Mark, and glad to have you here as a part of our team. And I'd also just like to recognize Nicole Stevens sitting beside Mark. She's done a fantastic job during our transition period from our previous finance director to now Mark, and she's just done a job worth recognizing and noting and appreciating to keep our department moving forward without missing a beat. And so you did a wonderful job, Nicole. I want to say thank you for your service to our town.
Nicole, thank you for what you've done. You've worked very, very hard. And Mark, welcome to the team here. We're glad to have you. Glad to have you both right here.
Thank you, Mayor. And just want to acknowledge in our inspections department, they've been very busy, and we've had an uptick just in this last month of permits that have been issued in our inspections department. We're seeing some growth there. Now it's coming into the spring season, and we're seeing a lot of additional development happening, so they're staying quite busy. As it pertains to our planning department, long-range planner Allison Wiley has gone through the process of becoming an official 4-H volunteer working with the Fuquay-Varina High School GIS Club. The club, which is tasked with doing a yearly project, has chosen to catalog public sidewalks within the Judd Parkway Loop and evaluate them based on a number of criteria, including but not limited to their condition and gaps in infrastructure. And this is all inside Judd Parkway. Allison is providing the club with resources, real-world insight, as well as acting as a general advisory role to the GIS Club at Fuquay-Varina High School. So we want to thank her for that extra service, and it goes a long ways to helping high school students understand what local government does on a daily basis. This is just one segment of it, but when we get our police department involved, we get our planning department involved, other departments involved, it helps students in our community learn about the services that we provide. So we want to thank Allison for that. Our engineering department held a pre-construction meeting last week for the Judd and Broad intersection operational improvements. This project will begin early next month and is anticipated to be completed in summer of 2026. A very highly visible intersection, as you know, and so while those improvements are being made, there could be some traffic impacts there, but we just ask the public to be patient with us as our contractors move towards making those improvements. We are continuing the process of interviewing candidates for the Economic Development Director position, and those interviews are there will be a second round of interviews here in the upcoming weeks, so we'll keep the board informed about that as we go through that process. Dinner in Downtown, formerly known as Dinner on Depot Street, will be held on Saturday, May 3rd on South Fuquay Avenue next to the Arts Center. The event is rain or shine, and so if it does rain, which we will hope it won't, it will move indoors at the Arts Center, and the event is scheduled from 6:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. on May 3rd, and tickets go on sale tomorrow. So if you or anyone you know wishes to participate and be a part of that event, look for those tickets tomorrow. Our IT department, now that the website upgrades are complete, as presented tonight by Susan, the IT department will start rolling out improvements to various forms and workflows on the website as a part of our workflow modernization process. So we wanted to make it as user-friendly as possible for the public, so whenever they fill out a form or whether they are filling out a request for information, they can be doing so in a more modern and efficient way. And so those upgrades will be rolled out in April, and it'll go through probably June for the complete rollout. The IT department will also be rolling out new online payment portals that will enhance what services can be paid online to the town. So we're trying to make more services available for online payment to the town, and that will be done over the next few months as well. I want to just congratulate our Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce and its members on a successful annual golf tournament that they hold every year. I want to congratulate the FVDA on a successful en plein air event this past weekend. And as I mentioned earlier, our fire trucks are in service now, but we have finalized the financing on those as well. So that process is closing the books on that. I would like to draw your attention to your agenda for where we do highlight some events coming up, including that push-in ceremony that I mentioned that'll be this Thursday at Fire Station 1. Also the Embers this Thursday at the Centennial Park, 6:30 to 9:30. Our Easter egg hunt will be on Saturday, April 12th at 10 a.m. Fleming Loop Park. The Downtown Candy Hop, hosted by the Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association, will also be on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. here in downtown. We will have our budget workshop Tuesday, April 15th at 6 p.m. in this room. I think we've got a very good budget proposal that I'm excited to share with the board on on Tuesday, April 15th. And again, I want to just recognize Nicole and Katie Lum for the great work they've done, and all of our department directors. This has been a team effort to get a balanced budget plan and 5-year plan before you. And so everyone has worked real hard to put together a good plan that I think meets the needs of our community and certainly I think follows the direction of the vision set by the town board. So looking forward to that on April 15th. Our police department will have the Friends with Wisdom event at Windsor Point Retirement Community on April 17th from 9 to 10 a.m. We will have a second Fuquay-Varina Follow Me to Fuquay-Varina concert with Heads Up Penny. The band Heads Up Penny will be on April 24th from 6:30 to 9:30. And then our food truck rodeo, always a popular, fun event that we have a couple times a year in our community, will be on Sunday, April 27th from 12 to 4 p.m. April is lining up to be a pretty busy month here in Fuquay-Varina. A lot going on, but that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Keeps it fun. Hopefully the pollen will get out of the air and everybody can enjoy being in the outside. With that, Mr. Mayor, I've got no additional comments or remarks to make. I'm happy to answer any questions that you or the town board may have tonight.
I just want to call attention to what you said right then, repeat that the food truck rodeo is going to be at the Varina parking lot, not at Centennial Square, rotating between the two,
Yes,
Fuquay
sir.
and Varina. That's different from last year. All right. Any questions for manager? All right, thank y'all. Thank you, manager, for the report right there. Commissioner Harris, any comments?
No comment tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Commissioner Adcock, any comments?
I just wanted to say that I was really impressed with the community survey, specifically the rankings of our town staff and the services that are provided to the citizens. Pretty amazing how highly the survey responded. The respondents ranked our staff and the services that the staff provides. That's a really, really big deal, and I know that it's just really appreciated by me and I know the whole board, and I just wanted to say that I thought that was really impressive, and thank you.
I agree. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wunsch, any comments?
Just a few. I'm always excited about the Easter egg hunt for many years, but we also have an adaptive egg hunt on the Friday before, which is really exciting, something new, that it's a sensory-friendly program designed for kids ages 10 and under, and it sounds like it filled up, and there's a waiting list, so it's be a great event indoors at the community center at South Park, and so excited about both those events this year. Always great events in the town, historically in the town of Fuquay-Varina. And then finally, I just wanted to mention and acknowledge, I had talked about last meeting that we had a All-American, we had two All-Americans, Addie and then Sarah, and then last night she brought a lot of recognition to our town, winning a national championship with the University of Connecticut and being an all-tournament team. And so that was really exciting to see a young lady who did spend a lot of time growing up here, going through the Strong Center, playing there, playing with Fuquay High School. And then what was interesting is the day that she committed, 1 year from that day that she committed to Connecticut, she won a national championship. So that I thought that was kind of interesting and symbolic. Exactly 1 year later, which was yesterday, and so not often that we have somebody from our town achieve something like that, and that was really, really exciting to see and watch, and so just wanted to acknowledge that, and that's my comments. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Wunsch. Commissioner Haynes, any comments?
No comments, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner, any comments?
The Fuquay-Varina Downtown Association had another exciting on plein air event this past weekend in town. I think there was a lot of interest in seeing the artist painting and some very spirited bidding at the event when the art was auctioned off. So thank you everyone for their support for that. It's a great, it has so many parts to it. It's just a really great event for our community, and because eventually we will see these the first place winner, I think maybe the first three place winners up as public art in town. And the artists share half and half with FVDA in the proceeds of this event. So it's a fun event that draws a lot of attention to our town, and it's a 2-day event. So thank you, everybody who participated for that. Thanks.
Good. All right, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Gardner. Manager, I believe, recommend closed session for this evening's meeting?
Yes, sir. Recommending going closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A, 3, attorney-client privilege, 5, property acquisition, and 6, personnel.
All right, do we have a motion to move?
So moved.
Motion second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye for closed session.
Aye.
All right, we'll take a quick recess and move into it for the room. Thank you.